How's it going? People may be raving on about the new Silent Hill, but I'm talking about a real horror game today. Garten of Banban. I don't even know what to say because if I'm being dead honest, I only know this series from those kid brainrot YouTubers that talk about the new Minecraft, Roblox, Tung Tung Sahur, Amazing Digital Circus, Skibidi Toilet, Garten of Banban mod. I feel like I'm speaking Chinese just from reading that out. Upon further research though, I have learned that Garten of Banban is quite possibly the laziest attempt at trying to be the next Five Nights at Freddy's. It is yet another mascot horror where everything looks all nice and kid friendly, but underneath the surface it's something scary. Ooh. I've seen this formula rinsed and repeated to death where I'm still surprised that this method works. I thought Poppy Playtime would have been the last successful attempt at this, but here we are. The reason I say Garten of Banban looks like the worst mascot horror is because of the designs. The mascots are just blobs with faces slapped onto them and that's it. It's like if you had ChatGPT create the most basic horror game. But surely there's something that makes the series so popular. Something has to be causing thousands, if not millions of people to try the games out. I refuse to believe that such a low quality looking game could have kids in a chokehold. So I'm playing every single Garten of Banban game, starting with the oldest release and making my way up to the newer games. Do I expect any of them to be good? No. But we'll see if they can prove me wrong. They will 100% be a waste of time. What even was that like? I feel like I've just played a really poor Roblox horror game. I mean, nothing really happens. So apparently we play as a parent who enters Banban's kindergarten, which was closed after all the children went missing. We enter about 4 rooms, get chased by a bird, and then the big green fella makes an appearance and yeah. That's some story alright. Gameplay wise, we get a drone and guided to hit these big red buttons. We collect keycards to progress. At one point we get chased by the bird and that's all there is to say. The game's not even scary. Sure, the bird will hit you with a jump scare if you're caught, but it's so dumbed down. It feels like I'm being greeted rather than attacked. There is nothing exciting about Garten of Banban. It is an incredibly bog standard, low effort mascot horror that offers zero creativity. Graphically, it looks like someone's first time using Blender. It's only 20 minutes long, but it's still 20 minutes I could have invested into something better. Even doom scrolling would have been more worthwhile. 1 out of 10, let's move on to the sequel. I'm pleased to announce that Garten of Banban 2 is also fairly shite. Well, at least there's a bit more here, but nothing to write home about. We're now underground and navigate our way around to find the missing children. We encounter a security guard who's stuck in the office. When we let them out, the security guard turns out to be Banban and we're kidnapped and brought to the medical center. We manage to escape, continuing our journey while running into the other mascots like Nab Nab, banbaleena and Slow Celine, as well as the return of Opula and Jumbo Josh. At the end, we run into Banban again, who says he's also trying to find the missing kids and helps us to escape. So I mean, we learned that Banban's neutral and yeah, it's just offering nothing lore-wise. I don't know shit about anyone or anything. How does this kindergarten even operate? Is this what they're like in real life too? Do you just send your child to some underground labyrinth for the day? What even are these characters meant to be? Are they costumes? Are they animatronics? Are they aliens? Everything in this game has zero cohesion. I feel like I'm following a narrative and setting that's being written along as it goes. Also, the voice acting is dreadful.
3 birds with 1 stone. I get all of your key cards, I get the perfect specimen, and I don't have to deal with that thing down there.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
It's the same thing gameplay wise, just collecting key cards and using your drone to hit buttons. Except for when it doesn't want to because it controls like utter shit. Then you have the most basic puzzles that either take 5 seconds to complete or require trial and error because the game is desperate to pad out its playtime and stop you from getting a refund on Steam. The final chase sequence is also more trial and error, where you die if you take the wrong path before waiting for the painfully long restart. Lads, you're not GTA 5, your game looks like a mentally retarded 5-year-old created it. There's nothing that takes ages to load in. Oh, and it's still not scary. Like, was that meant to be a jump scare? The only frightening thing here is that they're charging money for this game. And again, like I was complaining about in Secret of the Mimic, they completely overdo it with the quote-unquote subtle dialogue.
Over the course of the semester, you will learn how to annihilate others, how to safely extract the human brain for eating, and...
Okay, I will admit, there is one part that scared me. The fact that you're not subscribed to this channel yet, I'm absolutely horrified by that. Anyways, this series has been giving baby's first horror so far. Once again, this game is devoid of creativity, has mind-numbingly boring gameplay, zero horror, awful graphics, and another waste of time. I hope I've played the worst entries because I still have zero clue as to why Garten of Banban is so popular. 2 out of 10, on to the next one. Yeah. It's not good. It's getting hard to talk about these games when it's the same thing with little to no improvement. Also,
Who the fuck is that?
so we're just making up new characters now and acting like they were there the whole time? Yeah, just whatever. In this game, it's more of the same, traversing through the area while cooperating with Banban and avoiding the other mascots. I guess Stinger Flynn is the first kind of interesting character, with him acting all depressed. He has a couple of flashbacks where God knows what they mean, God knows what they represent, God knows why I'm playing this shit game. Then he gets mad that we won't leave, Banban chases after us, and then there's a big fight scene that makes Boruto look like Studio Ghibli. I mean, something is happening, but also nothing is happening. Every chapter feels like a rough draft and not thought out at all. Why are we just bouncing around different areas with no explanation as to how we got there or why these people are here with me? I hope this story eventually makes sense because it feels like the developers are just chucking shit at a wall until something sticks. Gameplay, do you see what I mean? It's all the same thing with solving brain-dead puzzles and collecting key cards. One puzzle was the exact same one they used in the previous entry. We are reaching dangerous levels of laziness here. And of course, plenty of padding so that the player can't refund the game on Steam, with things like the cable car taking ages to bring you to the next area, or the cable car not even showing up despite pressing the button multiple times to call it over. Or when you fail to hop on the bird, so you have to run all the way back to the boss area, pick up the hats, run back to the robot, put the hats on him, prompt him to the door multiple times before dying all over again because the game won't register you climbing onto the bird. Nice one, lads. Oh, speaking of the boss, it's shite. It's not scary, not intense, just very tedious because you have to use the drone to get the fireworks, which can take forever because of how slow and clunky it is. Then when you're dodging the attacks, you'll get hit and die anyway because why not? Also, this game has probably the worst attempts at horror so far. I mean, it's only ever offered jump scares, but they're minimal in this game. I can remember like 2 that happened and that's it. I sometimes forgot I was playing a horror game. Since it's quite clear how low effort and lazy this series is, I'm just going to copy and paste my conclusion from Garten of Banban 2. Once again, this game is devoid of creativity, has mind-numbingly boring gameplay, zero horror, awful graphics, and another waste of time. I hope I've played the worst entries because I still have zero clue as to why Garten of Banban is so popular. 2 out of 10, on to the next one. You know what? That actually wasn't awful. I feel like this entry was somewhat of an improvement. I still wouldn't say it's good, but I definitely hated my time less here. So in this one, we're taken in by Sheriff Toadster for an interrogation. Afterwards, we meet the Queen, Bouncelia, and help the Sheriff with repairing the elevator. Alright, we have a goal, a motivation to move forward instead of just listening to whatever Banban tells us to do. We actually do meet Banban and Stinger Flynn, who brings us into another flashback where I just can't take this game seriously. I don't want to give Banban's voice actor too much credit, but his performance did crack me up when he was chasing Nab Nab.
Wait, no, Nab Nab. I tried fixing you so many times, but you're just unfixable.
Speaking of the voice acting, I thought Sheriff Toadster and Bittergiggle were actually okay. No, it's not Mel Blanc level, but at least they're trying compared to Banban, who sounds even worse after listening to them. But overall, the story was a little better compared to the previous entries. It is just a fetch quest, but I will take anything at this rate. Gameplay is bog standard again, just the usual keycard collecting and using the drone. The memory puzzle was alright though. The boss, not as bad as the last one, but fairly tedious with trying to get him to hit the target. Also, with his giant hitbox, it can catch you even when you think you're miles away from him. I mean, it is a completely fair decision in game design when I haven't hit the 2-hour mark. Yes, these really long paths were necessary on top of the incredibly lengthy elevator sections. All hail the Euphoric brothers and handing them 10 quid for 1 hour of content. It's a good thing I've been pirating these games. In terms of the horror, it actually starts off strong with the opening chase sequence. I was actually surprised to be hit with that straight away. But afterwards, absolutely nothing happens. If I was 5 years old like the fanbase is, I might have been scared by this Thomas the Tank Engine monster, but nothing did it for me. It felt like a roller coaster ride where you get a big drop at the start, and then a straight line for the rest of it. Also, what happened to this place being a kindergarten? Why does this place need a huge setup of maintenance, research and health sectors? How did this kindergarten even operate? Okay class, today we're going to take a bunch of elevators down to look at the giant kangaroo on our throne. If I tried to make sense of this story, I'd be in the hospital with a severe stroke. Anyways, do you know what? I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Definitely an improvement, but still a long way to go. Garten of Banban 5 just never came out. 10 out of 10 for not wasting my time. I've gone back to not liking this series at all. I really thought after 4 I'd start enjoying these games a bit more, but I did not have much fun here. After Bittergiggle unleashed the naughty ones from the previous game, we have to unlock a door. Yeah. Riveting, I know. Bittergiggle comes in to help us, feeling guilty about what he caused. Banban's here, Sheriff Toadster and banbaleena disappear, Stinger Flynn gives us another flashback that makes no sense, and we're introduced to the villain, Sir Dadadoo. His model is shite, his voice acting is shite, and I could not care less about him, to be honest. If he's not hiding the children, then I don't care what he wants from me. We get another incredibly animated fight between him and Nab before the story concludes with everyone being mind controlled by Sir Dadadoo, with Banban staying behind to give us time to escape. It just feels like I'm reading off a story that I wrote when I was 9 years old. You'd also think at this rate, a character like Banban would get some character development, but other than learning his real name in the 4th chapter, he just follows you around and tells you what door to open. The cast has been very shallow so far, and I'm not even going to question the setting anymore. I'll just pretend that every kindergarten works like this and that they all have giant underground sections. I think the gameplay has been at its worst here so far. Of course, we still have the incredibly tedious moments of gameplay like moving slowly across the area while guiding my drone, or this puzzle conveniently making you run across the area after every button pressed. Anything to stop the refunds, I guess. And the puzzles either make zero sense or were very poorly explained. Like this one where you have to click the button on each table in a very weird order before moving the light over to the screen, or this one where you had to follow a very specific set of steps to activate the ceiling light on top of hovering the lights over the red buttons. Like I was actually ready to tear my hair out because I had no idea what I was doing wrong here. Fuck this puzzle. Or when you'd send out a distraction to avoid Little Beak, but nope, you're actually meant to prompt it 3 times to activate the distraction. Go fuck yourself. And then more monotonous platforming to top it all off. Please put the bullet through my head already. Game's not scary, I didn't have fun, blah blah blah. 2 out of 10. The biggest positive that I can give this game is that I only have to play 2 more games to end this slopfest. Like, I've just not enjoyed this series at all so far. I've seen no improvement in game design, graphics, horror, storytelling, anything. Anyways, in this chapter we help the surgeon Syringeon to find Jumbo Josh so we can defeat Sir Dadadoo. Bittergiggle dies. I mean, I couldn't give less of a rat's ass, to be honest. Like, his whole character arc was, I am evil. Now I feel guilty and I'm on your side. Now I am evil again. Now I am dead. Anyways, at the end we encounter Sir Dadadoo, who faces off against Syringeon to see who can do the worst job at voice acting. Jumbo Josh appears and we have yet another fight scene that's on par with the action in Uganda Wood movies, before it's revealed that there's a blue Banban or whatever, who cares. I reckon in chapter 12 we'll get a green version of him with a twirly mustache. I thought Sir Dadadoo was going to be a lingering villain and they've binned him off just like that. Do the developers have ADHD with how much they're bouncing around with the story? Also, what's up with Stinger Flynn? I found him to be a bit enticing during the first encounter, but now he's just a miserable prick that blames you for everything, forces you to watch a nonsensical flashback before disappearing. Is he just there to pad out the playtime now? The gameplay sucks, again. Shocker. We do get an upgrade to our drone where we can actually control it rather than guiding it, and it is actually somehow worse. It controls dreadfully and will come to a complete standstill even if it slightly touches a wall, and sometimes it'll just glitch out and go all the way back to you. Jesus almighty, just let me break the yellow glass. How did they manage to make it so awkward to control? Surely that was done on purpose because there's no way to fuck it up that easily. Also, I despise the chase sequences here. Firstly, you have one with evil Bittergiggle where there is no guidance on how to get out, so I'm just bumping into a wall before figuring out I have to turn left into this tiny little passageway to get out. I was ready to break my keyboard in half if I had to hear that speech one more time. But it was this one that really did my head in. You have to guide your drone to hit 2 buttons to unlock the door while avoiding this giant monster where you have no idea if it's near you or not because the collar does an awful job at lighting up your surroundings. So when you realize it's in front of you, it's already too late to escape. And the drone is so slow to summon and move that it takes forever just to hit the 2 buttons. I was genuinely considering just giving up and watching a video on YouTube to see what happens at the end. This is one of the worst moments of gameplay I have experienced ever. Like, ever. I would rather swap places with my ancestors that suffered the Great Famine than experience this fucking abomination again. I feel like the developers have given up on the horror aspect as well. There is no unsettling atmosphere in this series anymore. The community of children say this is a major stepping stone in the series, but it is my fuck. I hated this chapter. 1 out of 10. We're almost there. I can finally put an end to this torture. Garten of Banban 0 is a prequel that features the cast with cute baby-like designs. I wonder why they created these. In this entry, we explore the origins of Banban, and I'm also assuming it's providing context for 8, which I haven't played yet. We play as an unnamed case and meet Banban, who acts as a guide for our first day. Along the way, we meet banbaleena, syringeon, nab-nab, and bittergiggle. Rather than their actual names though, they go by their case numbers, which establishes that the kindergarten was still in the works. We soon learn that Banban is being replaced, and for some odd reason at night, he wants to show you a surprise. Yeah, it's fairly obvious you're the replacement and Banban's trying to kill you. Now, right before you get eaten by whatever this is, Nab-Nab actually pushes you out the way, saving you, which does explain his opposing nature towards Banban. Anyways, Banban defeats the monster and locks you in a cupboard, where I'm assuming we will encounter the blue Banban in the next game. Believe it or not, I actually liked the story. I liked that it provides context for the next entry while also showing why characters behave the way they do. Banban constantly highlights that he's the leader, so you being his replacement would obviously damage his ego, on top of the fact that you make friends with everyone so quickly. Nab-Nab tries to foil his plans, which explains why he's always trying to stop you, the parent, and Banban from progressing in the previous entries. Syringeon also wants to dispose of you, which is why he gets frustrated at the parent for peeling off the sticker in the last game. For once, I feel like we get some proper character development, which I've been dying for. And also the questionnaire makes me wonder what these cases were before they were created, with it asking if we remember anything or where we are. I wish Stinger Flynn was also in this game just so we could explore the beginning or causation of his depression, but I'm happy with the story overall. I think the best part about this game is that there's no drone. Like, it infuriated me so much in 7 that I was knee sliding across the gaff when it didn't show up here. Instead, we just do some fairly boring puzzles, a bit of hide and seek, a bit of Reddit humor.
-1,000,000.
But the developers still found a way to include another dogshit puzzle because I guess it wouldn't be Garten of Banban without one. It's also not scary. In fact, I don't think you can even get a jump scare here, so I wonder why it's even advertised as a horror anymore. I might as well call Club Penguin Herbert's Revenge a psychological horror if that's what we're doing here. So while Garten of Banban 0 may still look bad graphically, not have any good moments of gameplay, and a severe lack of horror, I think it has the best written story of the series so far, which isn't saying much, but I actually do rate it. And for once, I'm actually interested in what happens next. If they can improve in the gameplay and have some proper scary moments, this could actually turn into a decent series. 5 out of 10. And last, but hopefully not least, we have... I have now completed the Garten of Banban series until the next one comes out anyway. And I think the most recent entry is actually not bad. We wake up in a prison and... this game is actually looking much better graphically. I mean, it's not amazing, but the textures are more detailed and the environment is a lot more polished than it was in the earlier entries where it felt like they were just chucking Unity assets around for the sake of it. You can really tell this is the most ambitious entry from the get-go. Anyways, we've been imprisoned by Syringeon and forced to work on a day-to-day basis. But on our first day, we encounter Sir Dadadoo, who turns out to have survived his beating from Jumbo Josh. He plans with you to make a great escape from the prison, only for one of his goons... Wait. No, I can't say that word anymore. Only for one of his henchmen to sell you out to Sheriff Toadster. Right before you're executed, a truck breaks in to pick you up and escape. But shortly after, it crashes and then you encounter Flumbo. He has been playing hide and seek this entire time, and even when Banban escorts him out, he still believes he's playing. You know, I really expected him to be instantly mad and start his revenge, but nah, he's so innocent that I feel quite bad for him. We separate for a bit and... oh. That's Gore of my comfort character. Before reuniting with Flumbo, who, as predicted, is about to be killed and harvested for parts by Syringeon and Banban. We make our escape, run a few errands, and Flumbo is finally told about his true identity and Banban's betrayal. We meet with Syringeon and Banban again to save banbaleena, then we play the tape that finally shows... I have no idea what I'm looking at, but it upsets Banban and he kills Syringeon. Flumbo fights him and they both fall into the vat beneath them. We make our way out and hear... oh yeah, I forgot we're looking for our child. And the end teases us with a new character. This is definitely the best story we have gotten so far. A lot happens plot-wise, and I really liked this conflict between Banban, Syringeon, and Flumbo. It's something I was actually interested in seeing unfold, unlike Sir Dadadoo. I'm hoping this isn't the last game featuring Flumbo because they've set him up to have the best character journey. I guess one complaint I'd have is the introduction to yet another character at the end. I feel like we're reaching the end of this overarching story, and unless I'm wrong, there's no need to keep adding new mascots when we're trying to tie up the loose ends of the current cast. But look, I don't know what the Euphoric brothers are planning, so I'll let them do their thing. And lads, praise the Lord, because the drone does not return in this game. This is single-handedly the greatest change they have made. Instead, we get this different remote that we use to combine colours. It's not the most groundbreaking addition to the gameplay. I mean, all we really do with it are some basic memory puzzles, but it definitely beats the drone any day of the week. This game can still be guilty for padding out the playtime though, especially in the Givanium village where you do the most monotonous tasks for the ministers just to find out it was a complete waste of time. The chase with Miss Mimicker was a huge trial and error session as well. Think of the one from the second game on steroids. The boss fights were decent though. I like how the new device can act like a weapon. It doesn't render you completely helpless now. The fact that you're not relying on the drone makes them way less frustrating as well. So overall,
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
do you know what I really loved was the sprite work on these characters. It actually made these models look good for once. A little extra detail seems to go a long way, so fair play to whoever created these. As for the horror, I mean, this part made me jump because it had been so long since something scary happened in this series, but it didn't really do a good job once again. If I didn't have to continuously die in this chase sequence to solve it, I probably would have found Miss Mimicker tense. These games seem to be too focused on puzzles and story that the horror aspect seems to be forgotten about half the time. Or maybe because they don't want to scare the children too much, I don't know. But you know what? This is definitely the best one I've played, and I feel like the developers are really hitting their stride with these games now. Yes, I still have a few problems with these games, but it feels like the Euphoric brothers aren't solely making these for merchandising. It looks like they actually want to make a passion project. I actually do look forward to what they'll do next with the series, which I did not think I would be saying before playing the games. So, I'll leave the most recent entry with a 6 out of 10. And that is Garten of Banban currently. It's an interesting series to say the least. A few of these are probably the worst horror games I have ever played. Appalling graphics, a lack of horror, dreadful gameplay, a lackluster story, and I think Tommy Wiseau would do a better job at the voice acting sometimes. The first 6 games felt like a complete waste of time if I have to be honest. But credit where it's due, I actually think the series began to pick up from 0 onward. They brush up on the graphics, get rid of the drone, create an enticing plot, and even give us some character development. The gameplay and horror is still on the weaker side of things, but I think the developers are starting to find their footing with the series. Would I recommend someone to play this series? God almighty, let's not go that far now. You're honestly better off watching the cutscenes from the earlier entries and then maybe you could give the newer games a go. I also wonder, how did this become so popular? I know people will say it's because it's a mascot horror, but that genre doesn't always guarantee success. If that was the case, EA would have abandoned all of their IPs to make FNAF clones. I think it was the dreadfulness that caused Garten of Banban to blow up. Like, they released this game, people pointed and laughed at it, then more people joined in to mock it, then decided it would be funny to give it enough traction for YouTubers like Markiplier to play it. Markiplier plays it, which gives it way more attention than it ever deserved, and then some people actually took a liking to the series, causing this throwaway game to generate millions of views and probably thousands in revenue. It probably wasn't intentional, but brilliant marketing from the Euphoric brothers there. Speaking of them, I know I just took a massive dump on their series, but fair play to them honestly. At their age, they're doing a lot better than most people and haven't seemed to buckle under the pressure. I think they still have a lot to learn, but I think the way they're going, Garten of Banban 27 will be the greatest horror game of all time. And yeah, that's all from me. Thank you if you made it this far. I would really appreciate it if you left a like. You can follow me on Twitter where I might post. And other than that, subscribe.